what makes a good hire in a game studio in general? I know it's a very general question and it's tricky,
Oh
but
yeah.
what
Oh
what
yeah.
what are you looking for? I know you might have been hiring for people who work on the engine and are very technical, or maybe a designer, or someone who works in marketing or go to marketing. What in your mind is something that you're looking for beyond kind of the story that we talked about? But is it culture fit? Is it communication? Is it again someone's technical skills? All of the above.
Mm. Yeah, good question. Right. So I think I think technical skills aside, pushing that aside because it's like, well,
That's
there's you kind of need to know how to be able to do the job at the level as kind of
yeah.
advertised for as like a given, right? So, where my mind actually goes to first is just that collaborative skill set. Yeah, I've even worked in the most highly technical engine teams, Unreal, Frostbite, and even still, none of these positions are isolated, siloed roles. You might have teams that go off into silos, especially R&D type teams. But it is phenomenally rare to find someone who's like, I am a team of one in this company, and I get to do what I want, when I want, and I don't want anyone to. I want everyone to just leave me alone so I can just work. Oh my goodness, like, there's not a lot of that. There's a lot of that in like academia, where you can just be like, go down a rabbit hole. You've got your budget, you can go research and everything else. Great. Games is just not the one. It's such a phenomenally difficult thing to create this blend of art and science, and all um all crafts are coming together. So I think number one, big company, tiny company, like being able to collaborate is key. And by collaborate, I mean really specifically, I think that means your communication style, being able to be respectful and actually useful in your communication style. You can be an highly introverted and obviously highly extroverted and still be a fantastic collaborator. Um, Being a collaborator doesn't mean like all jazz hands all the time. It just means like, can respect other work? Do you know how to strike a middle ground? So many people want so many things from a game, especially AAA, 200 people in the studio, whatever. Everyone has a voice. This whole everyone has a voice thing is somewhat of a myth. Like ultimately, the leadership have the voice, right? They want to hear your feedback, but they may or may not take it, right? Um, but so being able to voice that, being able to truly listen to other people, then being able to accept what the direction is, and then going for it, is definitely a skill. It's a skill that I think can be learned somewhat, but get get ready for that. Be highly collaborative. I think also as well having a real empathy and appreciation for all of the crafts. I've hired concept artists that come from a fine art background, phenomenal painters, and that have moved into digital work, and then hired people that have gone from like aerospace engineering, C++ into ultimately engine programming, right? You think two completely different type of people. They are ultimately both putting together their best work to make this one thing. So being so empathetic and understanding of everybody's strengths and skills, that's got to be number one. I think, because if anyone spots that you're not like that in the interview process, you're not going to get anywhere. so regardless of your skills, so that's definitely one. I think as well, like company by company, every company will have their own culture and their own values and their own ways of doing things. And so you may have, it's my dream to work at X, but actually it might be a completely terrible fit for you. And it doesn't mean that company is bad or good, like morally. It just means like this company likes to make decisions this way in maybe a like aristocratic or like very top down way, and this company likes to for everybody to make a decision is much more democratic. Neither of those, like one isn't bad and one isn't good inherently. It's just different ways of making decisions and communicating. But you may find through your career that you really gravitate to one over another. So I think it's really key, like especially early in your career, you got to figure out how your brain works and figure out what your values are and just gun for those companies. Because if you force yourself into a company where it's not your true self to work in that way, and it's not your true self to like align with those missions and values, you're just going to be fighting uphill the entire way. If you slot into a company where everything just feels so natural, it flows, you get on with everybody, and it's just so easy to get your work done, you are just going to fly. You're going to get all those promotions and do great work and everything else. So I think that's another thing. And the whole point of a great recruiting team is to figure that out, like to take all this ethereal company culture value stuff and then try and find those people. Obviously, skills as well, but really trying to quantify it. Is this person going to thrive in this culture, or are they going to just quit in a year's time because they're sick of it? So yeah, that's kind of the top two. The third one on skills, AAA, the bar is high, and people, I think, from outside of games don't really understand how high that bar is. The amount of times I've been sent portfolios, and I'm like, there's not a chance, not a chance. And at the time in the past, I've been a bit nicer, been like, oh, maybe now if someone sends me a terrible portfolio from quality perspective, I should be like, sorry, this is not the quality that you'd expect against AAA. I don't have to tell them they're terrible. I just have to tell them the
You have,
quality is not up
you
to
have to build
speed.
yourself up, right? Like I
Yeah,
understand. I
yeah,
completely,
yeah,
like, you have to be realistic. Like if you're coming in fresh into the games industry, maybe you have some game development experience, or you built
yeah,
your own game, or you're a software developer in another company, or you're an artist in some other kind of industry. If you want to break into AAA and your dream is to work at EA or Epic Games, you have to work your way up and prove that you can work in smaller companies to then start playing with the big dogs. Like that's,
yeah,
I just feel like that's a natural progression. I think some people maybe set that unrealistic expectation, jump straight
yeah,
into applying for a really big role, and that just it's difficult.
yeah.
Like you wouldn't want to hire someone that doesn't have that experience directly off.
Yeah, exactly. And also, the big difference between a very large game studio and a very small one is that the very large game studio, they will hire people for their vertical skill set. So what I mean by that, they'll have an art team, and in the art team they'll have concept, environment, 3D, character, etc. And all of those are exceptionally good in their specific discipline. They know how to do that one particular thing at a very high quality level. Whereas small studio, like their art team is two people and they do everything. They they concept it out, they build the environment, they got the characters going on. They may even be doing dabbling a bit of tech art and building pipelines. So then it's like, oh, these generalists are massively valuable. If you took a AAA character artist and then threw them in that environment, it's they might not like it, or they may have such a ramp up time to learn just enough of everything to be able to like be productive. So that's also something to be aware of from a skills perspective. Like AAA goes uh, very, very niche and very deep, and smaller studios will go very, very shallow and very broad. And again, that comes back to you, like what type of work sounds good to you, as well, and where do you think you would thrive, and then go for that too. So yeah.
Well, I think people in their 20s, like I emphasize with this because when I went from the junior product manager role at EA, I took, you could say a step back, but to me it was a step forward into a small mobile game startup, still in London, but away from that AAA kind of. There was an idea that maybe I could rise up in EA, and I had that kind of that dream a little bit. But then I thought the most important thing I can do in my 20s is to learn, and
Mm.
the best way to
Yeah.
learn is to get into a startup, and that's what I tell everyone who's kind of in their 20s is like your 20s are there for you to figure out kind of what you want to do, but also to learn as much as you can and to expose yourself in a situation where you get responsibility, you see what others are doing. Because, like you said, when you get into the bigger leagues, it's all about what can you specifically do at a very high level, not can you kind of just do a bit of everything. Like if you're an
Yeah.
artist, you might do a bit of this design, you might do a bit of this character art, you might help with some marketing materials. But when you're working AAA, like the marketing team's doing their own thing, the artists are doing the other thing. Like it's much more vertical. So
Yeah. So it's also something you were just saying there about in your 20s, obviously you learn, well, I mean, obviously it's a non-stop learning curve, but I think I think with career progression, or just progression in general, growing any skills, it always takes so much longer than you actually think. I think most people, when they start their career, obviously loads of energy, not a lot of skills, and it's like, oh, I haven't been promoted in my first year out of university. It's like, to everyone else that's like at the senior level, they're like, whoa, okay, it's been 12 months. So there's always this push and pull between perhaps someone who's absolutely dying to get that next promotion and stuff, um, and then other people being like, well, yeah, you haven't You haven't quite proved it, yeah, or anything like that. And sometimes quite easy to find someone who might be the same age as you, same years of experience of you, like climbing fast, and you're just like, oh, what about them? So I think, yeah, if you focus on your learning, saying yes to all the learning opportunities that you can, like eventually the money and the job title and the autonomy and responsibility like comes. So yeah, my advice for my younger self would be just chill.
Everyone. And yeah, that's it.
Great. Thanks, Alessandra.